activities. Now, it isn't just simple behaviors like gestures that have meaning. In fact, complex patterns of social activity, entire social situations often have very complex social meanings. This is what we refer to when we talk about social definitions, or what is often called the definition of a situation. What is a wedding? Well, there's different variations of a wedding, but at least in America, for most people, you pretty much get an idea of what will happen at a wedding just when I say the word. Now, where did that come from? Well, maybe you're married yourself, or you've seen weddings, or you've participated in weddings, you've watched them in videos, you've heard stories about them. Once again, these are things that you learn from other people, or you learn by engaging in the activities yourself. One way or the other, these are things that are learned socially. But after a while, you get an idea of what goes on in the wedding. You understand who's there and what roles they play. There's a wedding, and if it's a heterosexual, traditional marriage, you have a bride, you have a groom, you have a minister, perhaps a priest, a rabbi. You have some official who orchestrates the wedding. You have members of the groom's party, members of the bride's party. Maybe you have a little girl who's a ring bearer. You have various religious or secular rituals that you go through. Perhaps you throw rice at the end of the wedding. You have wedding cakes, and you have wedding music, and so forth and so on. In other words, you already have a rich idea of who will be there, what they'll be doing, what roles they'll be playing, what physical objects will be there, how they'll be used. You have a sense of the timing of these various things that will go on. For example, when the bride begins to walk down the aisle as the wedding begins, people aren't going to stand up and throw rice at her. That would be inappropriate. It would be weird. It's not part of the rules or expectations that are built into how weddings are supposed to work. Well, see, that's the whole point. We do have rules and ideas about how weddings are supposed to work, and those are part of the social definition of a wedding. And by the way, that allows us to talk about weddings in lectures, watch weddings on television or movies, tell jokes about weddings, rehearse weddings, or actually get married ourselves. At the end of the day, it's because we have shared social definitions that weddings mean more or less the same thing to you as they mean to other people. And if that's true, we already have this rich set of ideas about how to go about them, how to interpret them, what they mean to us, what to expect, what's going to happen, and who would be violating a rule, what the rules are. All of those kinds of things flow out of our shared social definitions, and they allow us to create and use and participate in weddings. Weddings is simply an example. The same thing could be true for any kind of activity where we have shared social definitions. Certain kinds of work, funerals, football games, you name the activity. And as long as there's common understandings of social rules, social roles, expectations for who will do what and when, what kinds of behavior is acceptable or unacceptable, and frankly, what kinds of objects and activities will go when and where. Those are all examples of things that comprise social definitions. And here's a critical point. These social definitions allow us to engage in extremely elaborate, complex social activities and rituals. We can go to church and have all manner of rituals. We can play games. We can have frat parties. We can engage in academic work. We can have sports teams playing football. Very complex activities. These are activities that entities that aren't using shared meanings and symbols simply couldn't participate in because they couldn't coordinate their activity. Which leads us to our last major point, or actually our second to last major point. I want to emphasize how important it is that shared meaning and shared social definitions are to creating the social world and maintaining predictability and order. At the end of the day, as long as we're using shared meanings and shared social definitions, we can create a social reality constructed from the ground up and produce and create, recreate all sorts of really complicated social activities. But when shared meanings and definitions begin to break down, you have misunderstanding, confusion, chaos. Think about interacting with someone that you don't share the same language with. Even more, they don't understand any of the same gestures you do. You wave at them and they punch you in the face. You begin to get angry and make threatening gestures toward them, or at least what you think are threatening gestures. They start laughing. you simply find it difficult to interpret their behavior, to coordinate your behavior. You don't know what to expect from them, and they don't know what to expect from you. You're constantly misreading each other, bumping into each other. At the end of the day, what's going on here is complete chaos. Our ability to create meaningful activity, do things together in ways that are predictable, those require shared social meaning and social definitions to get them done.